What is up, my fellow guardians of the grid? Welcome back to another streaming session. Today we will be jumping into Diablo 3, but we won't be doing too much gameplay. Matter of fact, I don't think we'll be doing any gameplay on this one. I'm just going to do a little bit of a showcase on one of my builds. So if you are checking out the live stream, definitely want to say thank you for that. Also want to say thank you if you are checking out the replay on YouTube. If you enjoyed today's content and you are new to the channel, please make sure you hit the follow button if you're on Twitch. Make sure you hit the sub button if you're on YouTube. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you're made aware anytime I go live or anytime I upload a video to the channel. If I happen to see that you are a new subscriber, I will be sure to give you a shout out on the next video. Speaking of which, definitely want to give a big shout out to some of the newest Guardians of the Grid. I know that we have grown quite a bit in the past few weeks, so thank you for that. I definitely appreciate it. If you are not new to the channel and have not yet subscribed, all I can say is, what are you waiting for? Don't be shy. Go ahead and hit subscribe. I'm a pretty nice guy. I'm not a pro, I'm not a noob, just a regular dude who enjoys video games and started streaming that, sharing it with the world, and I welcome anybody who wants to help grow this channel with me. So thank you so much for that in advance. For those of you that are already subscribed and have been returning to view the new content, always want to say thank you for that. All of your support means so much to me. It does provide motivation for me to just keep on going. So thank you so much for breathing life into this channel. It is for any time that you do, just know that a piece of this channel becomes a little bit more of yours. So with that aside, I don't want to take too much on the intro. Like I said, I'm just going to showcase one of my builds real quick, see if you guys have any questions, or if you need help. If you need help with a build, I am again certainly not a pro by any means, but I am always happy to give my insight or opinion, options, whatever it is, suggestions, what have you. So again, I want to see what goes on here. If you guys enjoy it, I will go through some other builds that I have for today. We will be checking out Cyrell. I did name her after a DC comic book superhero. So if you, for those of you that are comic book fans out there, if you are a comic book fan and you're not familiar, definitely check that out. It is a pretty cool little, what's it called? It is a cool little character. But I did name her Cyrell. She is a demon hunter, and we'll take a look and see we'll take a look at the build and see what I got going on here. Excuse me. All right. Let's open this right up. So, first thing we will go off of is, we'll do abilities first. So what I did is I set her up with the bolas, because it is only 4 hatred to use, and whenever they explode, it causes splash damage. So it does help. You want to make sure that your character is fast enough, or at least I'm not going to, forgive me, I don't want to try to give advice, but at the same time, I just want to kind of give a little bit of my thought process here. So what I wanted to do was this, is because I realized that it's a really powerful attack, but the problem with it, or at least with the one thing I know, that with all powerful attacks, there's usually a downfall to it. There's usually something that kind of balances it out. In this case, it would be the timing, because the bolas, they take a minute to kind of spin around until they actually explode. So you want to make sure that you have dexterity, a high dexterity with your character, so that way they can not only issue out or send out as many bolos as possible in a short amount of time, but it also, I believe, helps with the timing on that. It helps to speed up the timing a little bit. And again, it does cause a lot of splash damage, so it does help with crowd control, which, if you're dealing with crowd control, you essentially want to have distance anyway, so that does give it enough time for the bolas to become effective. But that was my thought process on that. I put it as my A because that's just my standard. It's the lowest costing attack. It causes the most damage, and it is one of the fastest attacks that I have. And then now moving over to the next one, this would be my secondary. This is the Impale. Now, the reason I picked the Impale is because it coincides with the actual armor itself, which I'll go over that here in a minute. But it does cost 20 hatred to use, so it does take a little bit of hatred. I think I can probably throw like 5 of them before it drains. But if you're going to be utilizing this attack, you want to try to beef it up as much as possible and use it as kind of a I use it as crowd control, because I also put ricochet into it. So anytime it hits one person or one enemy, it'll ricochet off of them and go off to another one. And then I believe one of the perks that I have for it, it actually multiplies the damage as it impales or as it goes on to another enemy. So again, I'll touch on that, or it'll make a little bit more sense once I go over the armor set. But that one I use for the right trigger because it to me, right trigger is just kind of like a super heavy attack and makes it real easy, or it makes it easy for me to not spam it. I don't want to spam it, because again, it does eat away a lot of hatred if you use it or if you rely on it too much. And when you run out of hatred, it kind of makes it difficult for you to maintain just your normal attack, like the A button in my case. This here is because I chose to do hunting because it helps for when you get crowded up, especially when you have a ranged character like the demon hunter. The demon hunter is strictly a ranged character. Big reason I say that is because whenever you use your primary attack, for example with the bolas, they become stationary. You can't move with them. With other characters, you can move while they're attacking. However, with the Demon Hunter, I believe they're the only character who cannot attack or who cannot move while they're attacking. So you want to make sure that you have something that's able to get you out of a tight situation, no pun intended. In the hunting, if you look there, it tumbles acrobatically to avoid attacks. So what it does is it replaces my right stick, because you can use the right stick to evade damages and things like, or you can use a right stick to evade attacks. But with this, you can actually leave a trail of fire, which will help to cause a little bit of damage, and it also helps slow down the enemy. So that's one of the reasons I picked this one, is because since this is a ranged character, you want to have something that creates a little bit of distance without spending too much resources. In this case, it only costs 8 discipline, so that's perfect, because then I can create some distance and then use my other attacks, which rely on hatred, to execute. This here is a defensive active power. It gives you life gaining for dealing damage. Now, the reason I picked this is, again, it's armor specific. This here in particular, it is pretty nifty if you use it the right way. But again, I'll go over that when I touch on the armor set. But that was the main reason I picked this one, is because it gives me pretty much a forever buff. A forever buff just meaning that or a recycle buff, or whatever lingo you want to use. Once it's activated, it doesn't go away. So I'm constantly have life regain, which if you have a life gaining like that, it opens up a lot of your other slots, or at least in my case, it opened up a lot of different slots that I could use, because now I'm not worried about having to equip a potion of any kind. I also put gain increased movement speed while shadow power is active, because I'm the type of player that likes to run around the map, and if there's a part of the map that I haven't seen yet, I will go over there and check it out, because you never know what you're going to find. Now, I know I've pretty much found everything that there is to find in this game, but you never know. You might find something that the developers threw in as an Easter egg that shows up like 0.001%. So, but yeah, that's one reason I have that there. Again, you have a forever buff, and you also have the buffed up speed. Oops, sorry. Where did we go? Here. This here I picked was, again, it was, whenever you're dealing with a ranged character, sometimes you can find yourself getting overwhelmed because you're focusing on one part of the map more so than the other, and you wind up getting surrounded. It happens. So what I did is I put this on. What it does is it releases the spinning blade of death that slices through enemies, and then I put for the perk, I don't know, the ability perk, I put it as a kind of a shield. So if something does get in close, I can at least cause a little bit of damage, which might interrupt their attack, which might, get me a little bit of extra time to make some distance using this here. So it does last for quite a long time, which is another reason I put it on. It honestly, it doesn't go away. And to start it by the time, you can refresh it as many times as you need to. It essentially doesn't run out. This one here, I picked the grenades because, again, there's something that is it does coincide with the gear, but it says throw 2 additional grenades. So I'm throwing 4 grenades at once, and it is a fantastic way to get some crowd control, especially if you're not, if you don't want to spam the Impale, this right here, it costs only 4 hatred to use, and holy moly does it cause some crazy damage. There's a multiplier on it where as it explodes it bounces around and it just kind of, it snowballs. It has a snowball damage effect, and then on top of that you have splash damage. You mix that with the bolos and you have literally a 4th of July party going on with large crowds of enemies. So I always thought that was pretty cool. This here for I picked, or at least for my passive, I picked a passive of dealing 40% extra damage to enemies that are above 75% health, because a lot of the times it takes, or with a range character when you're starting off with them, they don't deal a lot of heavy damage to begin with. It takes a while, you want to try to get the wheel starting. So this really helps to, in my opinion, it helped me to really manage solo gameplay, because again, with a range character, you could wind up attracting a lot of different areas or you'll wind up attracting a lot of enemies around you that you maybe didn't mean to, that are a little bit off screen. You'll wind up throwing an arrow that way, and then now they're all alerted. So now you have a horde coming after you. In addition to that, I have a lot of splash damage attacks, so this helps with, if I'm focusing on one enemy and the bolos explode, well, now I'm getting maximum splash damage by adding another 40% to those, to his friends around him. So that's always a good, that was one of the reasons I picked that one there. Gain life on hit, that's just, with the range, again, with a ranged character, they're not able to move, they're very stationary, so sometimes you'll wind up taking in ranged attacks. If you're like me, sometimes it's really hard to pay attention to, little fireballs or little arrows that are coming in. So this here just helps to make sure that, I'm at least getting that life, so that way I can, keep the ball rolling. I can't believe I don't have anything under this, but these two, I have the Hellcat Waistguard, which is this is one of the things I was talking about with the grenades. So now with the Hellcat Waistband, grenades have a chance to bounce 5 times, dealing an additional 50% damage on each bounce. This is increased to 800% on the final bounce. So that's, again, fantastic. I know I'm putting up damage numbers in the billions, which I think is pretty cool. And then the next one here is the Arc Stone. Lightning pulse periodically between all wearers of this item, dealing 1500% damage, weapon damage. So very obvious why I picked that one. It causes a lot of damage. And then when you have the bolas, because when it's attached to a weapon, the bolas now have that lightning impulse. So, or no, I'm sorry. When you're dealing with crowds and they're getting in on you, again, this is a ranged character, so I wanted to make sure I had a lot of close quarter protection, and this is one of the things here. As they come in close, you're dealing massive amounts of damage, and then on top of that, you're getting the extra buff of 40% if their health is above 75%. So I know that's a lot of stuff to say, big damage, but this is how I'm able to get that massive damage on that. Next here is increase movement speed by 20% for 4 seconds when you hit an enemy. So this is just to help with movement speed, because again, it is a ranged character, so you want to make sure you are very nimble, you are able to stop and move at this as quickly as possible. And then last but not least, I have Blood Vengeance. Your maximum hatred is increased by 25. In addition, you gain 30 hatred and 3 discipline when you are healed by a health globe. So I noticed that with this character, there's a lot of health globes that pop up, and that's one of the reasons I use this, is because I always like buffs that give you extra resources for something that only gives you that was only intended for one resource. So again, in this instance, sure what happened there, but my headset just died. Where was I at? But yeah, I was saying that I really enjoy buffs. Hold on here. Okay, yeah, just want to make sure the sound is good. But I really appreciate buffs that give you bonus resource refill. So in this case, if I pick up a health globe, then I get hatred and discipline replenished at the same time. So that again helps me to make sure that I can utilize any of these attacks whenever I need to, because I'm going to have a constant source or a constant resource upgrade. Now, moving over to gear. For this was if you notice, there's a little brim or a little edge around each of these weapons or each of these items. I forget what that's about, but it does help out a lot from what I remember. What I mean by that is, here I'll go over to the stash here. See if we can't find a weapon that is. Here we go. Oh nope, that's. Here, we'll do a compare. So these are ancient legendary weapons. I believe that's what the border. If you look at the border of each of these, so for example, on on these ones over here, you see the border, how it has like that gold border around it. These are a little bit more rare than the other ones you see. Like if you look here on this one doesn't have that border. And then if I go back to the other one, or if I go back to another one, this one does, if you look. But this is the difference between, I believe, an ancient legendary item and, let's see if that is, and then yeah, we can do this one. And then this is just a legendary item. So ancient legendary, again, it helps you with better reroll properties. But I digress. Going to the topic at hand, just how I have this set up. For this, I forged a fulminator. The reason why, as you can see here, I re-rolled it. I re-rolled it with Adria. No, not Adria. What's her name? This lady here. Miriam. I re-rolled it with Miriam to where it has plus 15 to 46 all the way up to 1800 lightning damage. And then, you can see there going down. Those are some of the attributes it has. But when we look at the buffs, lightning damage has a chance to turn enemies into lightning rods, causing it to pulse 554% weapon damage as lightning every second to nearby enemies for 6 seconds. So this is one of the reasons why, again, I had the other item, which, if we can go back to it, that would be the Arc Stone. So now, on top of the 1500% damage, anytime I do a lightning attack, it adds another 554% damage. So again, very helpful when you're trying to manage your close quarters. This is the Shadow Grasp. It is a part of a weapon set. If you see here, it'll when I go into it, you will see that it will indicate how many of the weapon sets I have, which I have all I have 6 weapon sets on here. So dexterity is up 900 plus 900. But what I did is I re-rolled it with Miriam to give an additional 7% attack speed. So yeah, this was just something to help me speed up the character so it can dish out as much damage as possible. And then we'll go over the set buffs in a minute. But I have the Shadow's Burden. This here again, just another piece of the weapon set. So you have Shadow's Grasp, the Shadow's Burden, the Shadow's Bane. This in particular, I did re-roll it to give me vitality, but one of the things that really helps is that I was able to forge a set, or I was able to forge a chest armor that had 3 sockets, and then with that I was able to put in 3 really powerful sockets to help beef that up quite a bit, to create an overall armor set of 1400. Going over to the helmet, same thing. I was able to get a socket. I think helmets can only get 1 socket, but again, that would be the Shadow's Mask, which is another piece of the set. I have here the Traveler's Pledge. The Traveler's Pledge gives me Wreath Lightning. Let me jump into that real quick. Wreath Lightning, 15% chance to hit and gain Wreath Lightning, dealing 2,350% weapon damage as lightning every second to nearby enemies for 3 seconds. While under the effect of Wreath Lightning, gain 25% increased movement speed. And then when you, I do, that is, because it's green, it is a part of a set. So you have Endless Walk, and then you also have um, two additional buffs there, which we'll go over once we've taken a look at the other set. For the bracers, I picked the uh, Lacuni Prowls. Uh, no reason in particular. It gives you thorn damage, which thorn damage is, I believe, anytime that you like do a perfect evade or a perfect dodge, it'll cause thorns to hit the person attacking you or something like that. Re-rolled it, so I got an additional 11,000 life per hit. So that way I'm again just gaining life as I'm dealing damage. So now I picked the Holy Point shot because it reduces cooldown for all of the skills by 7%, and then it increases maximum discipline for hunters only. So this is a specific item for demon hunters, which again, by throwing it on there, I get an extra 200 dexterity, and then I also get an extra 1100 dexterity. So keeping in mind that the bolas are going to be my main attack, that was again one of the bigger reasons why I picked this specific item, was because it does speed up the character, which you do want when you have a ranged character like this. Oops. Going over to the two other items that I have, these are the rings. They are a part of a set that is the Compass Rose, which that goes with the Traveler's Pledge. That is the necklace. And then I have this here, which is the Convention of Elements. The Convention of Elements is a pretty awesome little tool that you can add to any character. I think I have this ring on every one of my characters, but big reason is that it does give me a slot so that I can put in the Teardrop of Starweaver, which that gives you a 15% chance to smite a nearby enemy for 5,000, over 5,000 percent weapon damage as holy, and heal yourself for 3% of your maximum life. You also gain 165% increased damage to a single element for 4 seconds. This non-static effect rotates through the elements available to your class in the following order, and then Arcane Fire, Holy Water, or Holy Lightning, Physical. So big reason I put this specific item on all of my characters is because all of my characters have a focused element attack. So in this case, it's electricity or lightning. So this basically gives me an opportunity to deal more damage off of that lightning attack. So just looking to utilize the attacks that we have, especially the ones that are kind of automatic, if you will. The shadows heals. That would be I believe the shadows heals and the shadows coils are the two final pieces to the armor set. Which now that we've gone through all of those, we can go into that real quick. With this set, if you have 2 of the items for this set, you will, while equipped with a melee weapon, your damage will increase by 6,000%. So that's the reason why I don't have a bow on this specific Demon Hunter, and I have the Fulminator. I do have a Demon Hunter build that does utilize the bows a little bit more, but this specific Demon Hunter build that I did, I needed to have a melee weapon to make sure I get the full effect of the item set. So this is just me trying to maximize the buffs that are available to me. Now, once you get from 2 to 4, you get the Shadow Power gains the effect of every rune, and it lasts forever. So again, that's one of the reasons why I picked this, the Shadow Power, is because now instead of only gained increased movement, I now get Gloom, reduced damage takeage while Shadow Power is active. I get Well of Darkness, which reduces the discipline cost of things, double the amount of life gained, and slow the movement of enemies around me. So once I put or get to 4 items, four pieces of the set completed, I now have that ability. And then lastly, once you complete the 6th, or once you have all 6 items of the set, you have the this here, and this is why my Impale is OP AF. Impale deals an additional 75,000% damage to the first enemy, and then 25,000 to subsequent enemies. So that's why I have the ricochet, is because once I hit one person, and then it moves on to the next person, it starts multiplying from there. So that's how I was able to make that so ridiculously powerful. But let me see here if there's anything else that I missed. No. So that is my my demon build. Again, you know, as you can see, she's able to throw out bolas faster than most people are able to fire a bow. You have this here, which, as you can see, causes so much damage, and it just multiplies as it rocks forward. I have the shadow, and then you have the shurikens here. Right? You have the dash, which gives you the fire. Right? And then last but not least, you have the impale, which when you throw it, it comes out in threes, and so that means you are dealing 3 times, or 75,000% times 3, with multiple chances to cause more damage. So this, again, is probably one of the most OP attacks that I've seen in this game. So that is my demon hunter build. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, it's not. I didn't want it to be too long. I didn't expect it to be over 30, I didn't expect it to be almost 30 minutes. But if you guys have questions or if you have comments, you can go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. I definitely want to thank you for those of you that are checking out the live stream today on Twitch. Also want to say thank you for those of you that are checking out the replay on YouTube. If you are new to the channel and are not yet subscribed, and you enjoy, or if you are new to the channel and enjoy today's content, make sure you hit the follow button. If you are on Twitch, make sure you hit the sub button. If you are on YouTube, make sure you hit the notification bell so you're made aware anytime I go live or anytime I upload a video to the channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel and you are not new to the if you're not new to the channel and you have not yet subscribed, all I can say is, what are you waiting for? Don't be shy. Go ahead and hit subscribe. I'm a pretty nice guy. I am not a pro, I'm not a noob, just a regular dude who enjoys video games, started streaming that with the world, and welcome anybody who wants to help grow this channel with me. For those of you that are already subscribed to the channel and have been returning to view the new content, I always like to take a moment and say thank you. I cannot tell you enough how much I appreciate that support. It means so much to me. I do have a collection of YouTube shorts that have been uploaded to the channel, so if you're into that type of content, make sure you take a look at that. Share it with fellow friends, fellow gamers, fellow family members, anybody who you think would enjoy that content. Please, again, feel free to share that. I do have links for both of the channels. The link for the YouTube channel is located in the Twitch description. The Twitch link is located in the YouTube description. Make sure you share that with your fellow gamers and fellow guardians as well. I don't have any social media, so any chance you have to share the channel, you are doing me the biggest favor. So thank you very much for that in advance. This will conclude my video for my Demon Hunter build. If you guys want to see my other builds, please feel free to let me know, so that way I can refamiliarize myself with them and let you know why I built it the way that I did. Thank you so much again. I hope you enjoyed the content. Please make sure you check back for new content as the days go forward. Hope you have a great rest of the day. Have a safe rest of the night, and I will catch you, Guardians, on the next grid.
I waited 1,500 years for this. Should I